Before today's episode, I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, and recognise their continued connection to the beautiful land and sea. I'd also like to pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and I extend this acknowledgement to the traditional owners of the land my listeners are on. Welcome to Ritual the Podcast, your cottage in the woods. A sacred space for the witches, the healers, the magical folk to meet and speak of wisdom, witchery, and old world magic, where people come to learn, to hear stories, to share secrets, and to be free to be their true selves. Welcome to Ritual. Hello and welcome back to Ritual. My name is Amy Harvey and I am one of your hosts today because I am once again treated by the presence of Patrick Harvey.
Hello.
So that must mean one of two things. It's not a Sabbath, so it must be story time. I'm excited. I'm actually so excited for this one. First of all, how are you, Paddy?
I'm really well, thanks, Amy. And how are you? How have you been over the last few weeks?
I've been amazing. I feel like I haven't seen you since like 5 minutes before we recorded this. It's just been forever.
We've pretty much spent the entire day together, Amy.
Pretty
so
much.
There hasn't really been much time apart. But have you been well?
I've been great. Yeah, you?
I've been quite well.
That's good.
Thank you.
Now today is a super duper exciting one for me in particular, because this is something that I totally geek out over. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast, first of all, you're amazing. But secondly, you may remember that a few weeks ago, we did a spooky stories to celebrate Samhain, and it had such a big response. People really enjoyed it. And so we have decided to kind of continue the stories, but change the theme up every once in a while. So we may go back to spooky stories, but we're going to kind of delve in different areas because there's so much to learn.
There is so much to learn. I'm also
stories.
quite excited about this episode because I managed to make myself a bowl of tea.
If you're watching this, you'll see he literally has a bowl of tea. It's for cereal.
It's for cereal, but it's got a handle on it. So it is.
So it's technically a mug. But yeah, so today we are going to be talking about mermaids. Mermaids, very exciting. I am a massive lover of all things mermaids. I even have a giant mermaid tattoo on my arm. That's how dedicated I am to my love of mermaids. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Should we dive in? Get it? Pardon the pun. We're getting a few of them tonight.
The dive in one.
Now, before we start our stories, I thought I would just quickly go through what a mermaid is. I mean, usually when you think of a mermaid, I would think of like The Little Mermaid. Which, if you haven't seen that movie, I don't know what you're doing. Go.
It's almost homework
for
before
life.
The podcast.
It's a homework for life, really. It's one of our karaoke songs. I hate karaoke, but I will sing that song.
We'll do that a little bit later as a special treat.
If you're lucky.
Maybe on the private channel.
Maybe.
So
mermaids.
Paper play.
Why do I bring you back?
This tea is delicious.
Every time. Anyway, mermaids are not as Disney as you may think. So going back, looking at folklore, mermaids have often been described as an aquatic creature that has the top half of a human and the bottom half of a fish, so a tail like a fish. And there are many stories going back throughout time where that appearance is confirmed, but then there are also some that say that they're kind of more, I don't know, like I guess, more fish-like in appearance, where they are covered in scales. They can be a little bit scarier looking. So usually you'd think of like the beautiful Disney mermaid with the flowy hair and all of that. But there are sightings that have stated that they're actually quite terrifying to look at.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, no, because I've seen some depictions in photos.
Yes.
And
well, this is
they
what
looked a wee bit, like when you've been in the bath a bit too long.
Bit pruny.
Aye.
So mermaids have a varied reputation when it comes to their nature. There are stories of those who are quite friendly, and they have been said to have saved humans who are drowning, or sailors who are lost at sea, or there's a shipwreck. But then on the flip, there are stories of those who basically cause death. They can be very what's the word, mistrusting, distrusting. English is new to me. Very distrusting of humans, which I don't blame them.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know what you were trying to...
They have been said to lure men in particular into the ocean to drown them.
I've heard that, actually.
They cause storms to sink ships. Like, there's lots of stories where they're not really an energy you want to mess with. And just like with fairies, you get lots of different types of water elements. So fairies, like, you get things like pixies, brownies, all of them. So with water elements, you would get things like, there's ones called nixies, which are shape-shifting creatures. And then you get selkies, which are seals who can shed their fur and become humans when they're on land. And then there's sirens, which are the ones who have those beautiful voices, which are the ones that lure men in particular into the ocean to kill them. And then you get mermaids. So mermaids, they're kind of a topic that I think you can go either way when it comes to, are they real? Are they not real? People don't often sit in the middle. What are your thoughts? What do you think about mermaids? Do you think they're real?
Look, I initially was like, no, years ago. But the thing is, you can't really dispute. It's kind of like when people say, we saw lights up in the sky and this thing darting around, and it happens all over the world from all different cultures. And, if you're coming back, if you're dating these stories back to a time when they didn't have, obviously the internet or anything like that, but all the information aligns, you can't really argue with it. And this is something that you've said, which is probably what you're going to say. And I agree with, is that, what are we, 80% water on Earth, 2/3 water? Ocean, and we've only explored 5% of the, or something like that, of the ocean.
No, there's 80% of the ocean that hasn't been explored.
Right. So we've only gone through 20% of it. So, with all that space around that hasn't been explored, surely it's kind of like the universe. Surely there's something else in there that we don't know about. I mean, they're finding new species of fish and stuff all the time. So yeah, I do. What about you, Amy?
I do. I mean, I had to really think about it, because I was like, is it that fairy tale part of me that wants mermaids to be real? Because I think sometimes people do get trapped in that, where they try and ignore evidence because they want something to be real. But as you said, there's 80% of the ocean that has not been explored. And I think, similar to aliens, I think you would have to be extremely close-minded and very arrogant to think that Earth is the only planet in the universe that has living beings. I just don't see how that's possible when it's so big. Like, how could you really think we're that special when you can't even see it for yourself? Like, there's absolutely no way to really know. So with the ocean, there's so much of it that we don't understand and have never been, that I think, again, it would be very closed-minded to think that something like that couldn't exist, because how come humans can exist and the thought of a two-legged being is fine, but something that's like able to swim in the water is so foreign? Yet fish and seals and dolphins and all that, yeah, we've seen them, but what if we hadn't? Like, would we still have the same reaction of like, that's stupid, nothing could possibly swim in the water?
Yeah, well, what if we were to turn around and say, you know, there's a thing that's got these fins and it's got 3 rows of teeth and it's really fast and it can just rip you to shreds in a second, and that's
something out of a movie,
incredibly made up, but they're real. Dolphins are real.
And I think
not dolphins
from a more like dolphins are
they're vicious creatures that will rip you to shreds. Dolphins are real.
They're dodgy.
They're so dodgy.
Have you heard that noise they make? I would not trust them. But in saying that, from a like spiritual perspective, this again aligns with things like fairies, is that they say that beings like that are on a different dimension. And this is where often people, I think, get a bit lost. As soon as you mention dimensions, they're like, okay, this is just a bit too woo-woo and alien-like for me. But hear me out. The theory is that there are different dimensions, almost like what a ghost would be on, but dimensions are a thing. They're a real scientific thing. And when you look at energy, you can see, like, you know, when you ring those bells for a dog that humans can't hear, different frequencies. So it's a very similar thing. There's different frequencies that we're all on. Some people can hear things, some people can't, whatever. So the theory is that beings like fairies and mermaids are on a different dimension to us, and we can't see them. But the more open you become and the more spiritually enlightened you become and spiritually aware, the more you're able to, I guess, feel their presence. Some people can, if you have the different clairs, you know, psychically, some people are able to see them, some people can hear them, some people can feel them. So, but they're able to come to us, but they choose not to, because humans are so destructive, and something that we don't understand, we need to kill it and destroy it, because that's just what humans seem to do. So for that reason, they are on a different frequency to us, which I don't blame them at all. Sometimes I wish I could do that as well. It would be much easier to deal with things. So for me, I'm vanish in the thinner. Like tune yourself.
Yeah.
So yes, I think, to answer the question, yes, I do think that they're real. I think there's just some things we can't explain, don't understand. But from what I'm going to tell you from now, yes, there's evidence, because the thing is, with TikTok and all the social platforms now, there are mermaid sightings out there, but they're so fake. And they've been proven to be fake, which then encourages the mermaids aren't real theory.
Yeah.
But there is more evidence. I mean, there's more evidence that you can't dispute than evidence that you can, if that makes sense. Like there's more things that have happened that people can't explain than the ones that you can. So yes, there are people doing fake things, but there's a lot of things out there that just you can't make sense of, which is what we're going to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, don't talk about the fake ones.
No, I'm not talking about fake ones.
Because they're not.
Because they're fake.
They're real. I will say this, I will going back to my answer. Because whenever I say I think yes, from and like an energy plane perspective, yes. But I mean, I think the whole Disney-fied version of them is not legitimate at all, because they're not going to come out and start going, "Hey, how you going? I'm a half fish, half a human.
I want to be where the people are."
Yeah, exactly. So from that perspective, no. I mean, look at the Disney-fied version of witches.
Yes,
they're all usually green skin and cackly, and but so yeah, that's I'm with you on that. Anything look, we agree on a lot of things.
We do.
We disagree on a lot.
We do.
But we agree on this.
Yes, we do agree.
Back to the show.
Okay. We're going to dive into, throughout our time, there have been many mermaid sightings. This goes way back to like Christopher Columbus. In his logbook, they had sightings of mermaids. Now, with that, they have said that what he saw was actually a manatee.
Oh yeah, a dugong.
A dugong.
A dugong is.
But all different explorers throughout time have mentioned seeing mermaids. They've been a thing, and they've always had very similar descriptions, and it's not at a time where they could have quickly emailed each other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
they had no way of knowing that someone on one side of the planet was seeing the same thing as the other side. So
the postman didn't arrive on speedboat to go,
let's pretend there's a mermaid.
Do you guys need any letters sent to the other ships so you can spread misinformation?
Fake news.
Fake news.
No. So one incident was in 1943. So that was, no, who would lie during World War II? Nobody. But the Japanese soldiers were stationed in the Kawaii Islands in Indonesia. And so the soldiers, they had recorded sighting after sighting of what they called a man fish. So something that had the body of a man and the tail of a fish, and they called him a man fish. There is a Japanese word for it, but the translation is man fish. And they were said to have light pink skin, similar to like a salmon,
right,
and a mouth like a carp. And instead,
so it had a fish head. Okay.
Instead of a single tail, they had two frog-like fins and long arms. So these were what the soldiers had recorded over and over again. And even the locals in the Kai Island where they were also knew of these fish people. And they would often tell the soldiers, you need to stay away from them, leave them alone. But of course, curiosity, not understanding something, they need to go and find them. So there was an incident when the soldiers came to a lagoon, and one of the manfish jumped onto a rock nearby, and then another one started swimming towards them. And so, not knowing the creature's intentions, the soldiers started to shoot at them.
Yes, well, that's what we do.
But both of them escaped and disappeared out of sight. And so there was this like big stir amongst the soldiers because so many people had seen it.
Were these Japanese soldiers?
Japanese soldiers.
Okay.
And so they had some of their, what would they be, like generals or higher ranked soldiers come. And they listened to the soldiers, and they gave them a reward for whoever could find the creature dead or alive, because they wanted to know what it was.
All right, we're going to go kill this thing. This wonder of nature. Yeah. We're going to go kill it.
But, and so one of the generals, I think he was, or a sergeant in particular, was really, I think he might have been one of the ones that saw it as well. So he kind of like backed up the lower ranking soldiers, and he tried to get the scientific community on board to like go, something is here. There's these manfish. What are they? But the scientific community quickly hushed it up, and it just became nothing. Now, this is something that will reoccur again and again in some of my stories about, as soon as the government gets involved, it's all quickly over.
I just don't understand why that's a thing. Like,
I don't know.
I don't understand why that, like, what is the danger of people knowing that there's people living in the water?
I don't know. But again, this is something that you'll hear again. And so, so that was the incident during World War II. So let's skip ahead to semi-present time. And this story is one that I have become a little bit obsessed with. Now, this is the story of Lilith and Layla. It's a hard one to get your mouth around if you say that quickly. Lilith and Layla.
Layla.
And this is a huge mystery over on TikTok. So Lilith had a TikTok account when TikTok was first a thing. So this is really before it boomed. But she was on very early on, so around 2018, 19. And so I'm not exactly sure where she's from. I'm thinking it's maybe like a South America region. But she would post these videos of her mermaid friend called Layla. And she would post it over and over and over, where she would sit by the water and she would sing and talk to this mermaid called Layla. And Layla would sing back. And so it's like quite amazing to see or to hear because it's very haunting. And I will play it for you in a second so you can hear. But she would also do videos where she would go scuba diving and you would kind of see like this weird outline swimming behind her. Or there was even ones where you would see her kind of at the surface. And I think because of the quality of the videos and just the way it was filmed, like it wasn't the best. So it's like, you know, when you see videos that are really well edited, you go, that is so fake. I don't even know. Like, this is like so real. Like, I don't know how you would fake this. And like, again, this is early TikTok. So people weren't doing this kind of like fake stuff yet. It was all very like raw, authentic kind of stuff. And the thing about her videos is it really tore people in two categories, because some people could not hear anything at all. They couldn't see Layla, they couldn't hear her singing. But then you had another group of people who were like, I can see it and hear it clear as day. She's right there. And it goes back to my theory of the more spiritually open you are, the more you're able to see these things.
Right.
And so you would see this clear distinction between the people who could and couldn't see Layla. And so she became this like real like presence on TikTok. People were just like fascinated by her relationship with Layla. And then literally one day she was gone, completely gone.
Who?
Lilith. Her account was deactivated. All the videos were gone. Disappeared. She was never heard from again. And it's this real mystery because no one has heard from her since. And there's all these theories about, again, the government. Is the government involved? Because, I mean, if she just disappeared, that's fine, but her account is disabled. Everything's gone. Some people say that Layla took her to be with her in the water.
Shit.
There's another one where there's a video where you actually see Layla has another friend, and apparently it was like a male mermaid, and apparently there was this theory that he was quite like possessive of her, and maybe he actually killed Lilith. I don't know. There's all these different things, but it is very weird that she's just gone and has never been heard of again.
What was the last video that she put up?
It was just like a normal one. So I'm going to play it for you, and I want you to tell me what you think.
Layla? Layla, ven. No sé si la logran oír.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like very haunting, and just the way the video is, like, it's not like they've taken a lot of effort in how it looks. It's just, I don't know. It's a yeah.
And I didn't watch that. I was listening to it more so.
Yeah, I don't think you can see her in this one.
Layla? Layla, ven. No sé si la logran oír.
It's pretty
bizarre,
cool,
isn't it? Yeah.
So if you look on TikTok and you type in Lilith and Layla,
Say it quickly, Amy.
Lilith and Layla,
Blah.
you'll see there's heaps of videos, and there are some where you can see her at the surface of the water or swimming, like kind of the ones underwater are a little bit harder to see, but you can kind of get something. But have a look and see what you think, because I don't know, there's something about that noise. It's just very like haunting and magical. That is Lilith and Layla. Now, on the same strain of social media, there was a guy called, his username was source_90. And he also has a very interesting sauce.
Like tomato sauce.
Like tomato sauce. And so he was a fisherman, and he would often work really late hours on the docks or on the boat. And he recorded a very similar thing to Lilith, where he was almost capturing that same haunting noise in the water. And he posted heaps of these things, and the sound is actually very similar to the first one. And he got a really big following from it as well, because people just couldn't disprove it, because it was just so, I don't know, you can just tell sometimes when something's not staged or faked or anything. And he has like one video where there was a crab that was crawling across the floor of the boat, and he like picked it up, and he's like made this thing about how he's going to throw it back because it's not his time. So he threw this crab back, and he's talking, and as he's talking, something threw the crab back into the boat, and then you could hear this like ooh in the background. So it's a little bit freaky.
Have you got that?
I'm not sure if I have that one, but if you look him up on TikTok, a lot of his videos are there. But then, so he's got all these videos going on and on and on, all these beautiful mermaid voices he can hear at nighttime. And then coincidentally, his boat was chosen by the government to do scientific research on. And they never told him what it was, what they were researching. They just said his boat was chosen, and he recorded all of this on TikTok as well, like questioning them, going like, why, what are you doing? No information at all. And so they went and did their research, and then his account is disabled and he disappears.
But why?
I don't know.
But what's the...
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But the thing is, when you have like alien sightings, how many stories have you heard where the government get involved and the people are told to shut up?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the secrecy is.
I can kind of understand it when it comes to aliens, though, because if they've got weapons and, you know, force fields and invisible aircraft, that they'd want to have a piece of that. But like, I don't know if they really are in the market for like, you know, plankton. And
maybe I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you, but it's just very bizarre that again his account disappeared, and I think he actually made a new account and got back on, and then that was disabled. So it's just very bizarre. But I have his video as well. So let me see.
Okay, I can't keep going on about sirens without at least mentioning the legend Source 90. There's no doubt you would have seen this video.
You hear them? They're singing. I fucking love my job, I swear.
Do you get it? Like it's I can kind of hear the same singing tune as Layla.
Go again.
That's not a dolphin. Check out the following video of him duetting.
Let me go back.
You hear them? They're singing. I fucking love my job, I swear.
So he has like video after video after video of those noises, and so many people have like really dug in to see like if they can prove that he's faking it, and no one can find anything. It's the most bizarre thing. And again, he's had all these really weird experiences like with the crab and whatever, and I just think it's again bizarre that he also was disabled.
I mean, Lilith's mermaid is definitely a better vocalist.
That one's a little bit
like, but then again, you know, we're not all gifted singers like us.
Everyone's unique.
That's right.
Even mermaids. So then we go to British Columbia. There was a tourist boat that was out, and often where were we? There was a tourist boat that were out, and they were out in the morning, and they came upon this like small island, and they were all amazed to witness a mermaid-like figure sitting on the edge, like on the shore of this tiny little island. And it was said that they had silvery long hair, pink skin that was like a salmon, and a tail, obviously like a mermaid, and it was sitting on the shore eating a fish. So nearly everybody on the boat saw it. And it created this like huge, you know, commotion when they got back to shore, because so many people swore that they saw this mermaid sitting on the shore. And of course there was a reward to anyone that could capture it, but no one was able to find it again. But it was just like one of those bizarre things where
no photographs, no videos.
No, this one doesn't have one, but it
what
was
year was
just I don't have the year. It wasn't too long ago. It's fairly recent. And then you get the Kawaii Point mermaid. Now, this one has an interesting story as well. So for more than 50 years, people have reported seeing a mermaid off the coast of Hawaii's Big Island. But the sightings were never taken seriously. But then in 1998, a man called Jeff Leacher, and 6 other divers were exploring the ocean floor. He was an underwater photographer. And they were about 20 minutes off Hawaii's Kona coast. So that obviously might be where Kawaii Point is.
It's where the Kona Ironman is.
Sure. That fun fact.
Fun fact with Patrick.
And so when they were on this boat, Jeff said that he could hear singing as they were like, what does the boat do? It
sails.
It
boats.
It boats.
It boats.
Jets
It
across
motors
the water.
on the water.
And then there was this pod of dolphins that was swimming alongside the boat as it was moving. And then all of a sudden he heard one of the guys yelling, and he ran down and he looked, and there looked to be almost like a naked woman swimming with the dolphins. And they were all just like, what is this woman doing? But they were like, how is she swimming so quickly? Like it was a proper, like almost like a speedboat.
What would you think?
And she was swimming alongside them, and they were trying to like make contact with her, but then she went under the water and disappeared. And they were just like, that is the most bizarre thing I have ever seen. And so they kept traveling, and they got to their location of where they were going to be taking these photos, and they were down diving, and there were all these like colored fish, like rainbow fish around. So I think that's what they were originally there to photograph. And Jeff, when he was under there, he was taking photos of these fish, and he felt something like bang against his leg. And he looked, and he could see this woman, like half naked woman, swim past. But he said she swam so quickly, he like couldn't make sense of what it was. And so she would like swim past and then swim past again. And so when she was going above them, she was like up near the shore, he started taking photos over and over and over again. And he actually captured a photo of her, of this like silhouette of a mermaid. And I'll show you the picture now.
And for those of you watching the podcast on YouTube, you'll be able to see this picture.
I'll put all these videos and the picture on Instagram. So when my little sneaky trailer bit of this episode goes up, if you swipe across, you'll see all the things connected with it. But that's the photo he took. Now, when you look at that, you immediately go, it's fake.
Bullshit. Yeah.
It's bullshit. And I thought that too. I was like, that's like such a stereotypical kind of mermaid that I don't believe it.
Yeah.
At all. But they all swore that they saw her. And they like every single one of them that was down there had this like experience with her. And so what happened is, because this photo was like, it caused such a stir, they actually had 3 different photography labs like look into it, and they all authenticated it and said that the photos are completely genuine and they have not been tampered with at all. Which is like, I think because you have that, like the doubters kind of like trying to debunk it and they can't, it makes you look at it in a different way. It
does look very cliche.
It does look very cliche, but I think hearing his story, like if you look it up online, you can read the full story. It's interesting.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's what really tests your belief when you're presented with something that is so clear as day and you go, that's fake. But you go, well, maybe it's not fake. Maybe it's not. Maybe because it's so real, we just automatically can't deal with it.
And we spoke about that recently, which is just going along with things opens you up more, you know, to the point where, you know, maybe you might experience something like that. And, you know, it's your job to try and convince people that what you saw was real. Do you know what I mean?
But also we've been told that mermaids have human-like tops, fish tails, long hair. And so then when we see a picture of it, why do we go, well, that's not real?
Like,
what are we expecting? If you're told they look like a certain way and then they're presented to you in that way, why do we automatically go, that's fake?
Oh, yeah. That's what the fake ones look like.
Yeah. So it's
the story had to come from somewhere.
It's interesting. So like I said, all those stories are out there if you want to look it up. It is a bit of a black hole that I'm still very much in because I find it very interesting. But yeah, there you go.
I think it's one of them things, you could get caught up in a rabbit hole investigating it and looking at it. And I think it's one of those things, it's just like anything, it's really up to whoever the person is to whether or not they subscribe to it and whether or not they say yes or no, or oh, that's rubbish or whatever. But I think it's right. You know, it's always just good to have an open mind on things and not judge anything before, you know, you look at, like, say 80% of the ocean hasn't been you know, explored and whatnot, and then you do a bit of thinking like that. And also, just because we're told that something's not real doesn't mean to say that it's not.
Exactly. And I think your gut also, like your intuition will often flag something that is fake. Like you can kind of tell. I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I see things and you go, I just don't buy it. But with those stories, there was just something about all of them that I was like, I don't know. Like I actually kind of believe what they're saying, just because I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what makes it special compared to all the other ones.
Well, there was a docu years ago that I told you about. It was a mockumentary that was released on Animal Planet, which turned out to be a fake film, but it was investigating mermaid sightings. And they had like professors in inverted commas and researchers in inverted commas, and they were showing them footage and all that kind of stuff. And people thought that was real, but actually that was staged. But I think as well that throws people off the scent as
'Cause
well.
they
But I
have
just
that
don't know
mistrust.
why they want to throw people off the scent.
I don't know.
Like,
There
what's
was
the
also
benefit?
one guy in Fiji. It's called the Fiji Mermaid, and someone had actually they got the top half of a monkey and sewed it to a fish, and it was found on the shore, and there was this huge commotion about it, like, oh my gosh, we found a mermaid, only later to realize that someone is sick. And
Was the monkey dead already?
It was very, I would hope so.
Like, did he just find a dead monkey and go, I've been trying to make a mermaid for months.
This'll do.
This'll do. Get
So,
me my saw.
Yeah, there's things like that. And I think
What sort of fish was at the bottom?
a big one. I don't know.
Mm.
One of those big ones. Not a shark, but not a
swordfish.
I don't know. I can't confirm.
Is a barracuda big?
I don't know. Are you going through all the fish?
Was the monkey big?
Actually wasn't overly big. It's quite a disturbing photo if you look it up. I'm giving you a lot of homework, but look that up too.
Get onto it, guys.
But what I was thinking was, before my train of thought completely disappears.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going. Is that
we love you?
I think, yeah, we're just like very trained to be skeptical because we've grown up hearing that old things like fairies and mermaids and ghosts are fairy tales. They're not real. And so we have been programmed to believe that these things don't exist.
And isn't life more fun just to...
Well, I think it just takes time to really take that distrust of reality, what is real, what isn't, away. And then when you open yourself up and go, you know, these things, why are they even, like, they must have originated from somewhere. Like, who thought of that? You know, they have to have come from something. And then you see stories like that. I think it kind of just gives you that confidence that, yes, there is more to this world than we have been told. And I don't think it's stupid or childish to believe it, because these stories are children's stories.
Yeah.
But what they don't have to be. They can be real, you know. Children's stories have animals. Animals are real, you know. So I think you have to just allow yourself to believe it and not feel stupid.
No. And like I said, isn't life more fun if you do, you know, do like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, ignore the naysayers. If people poo-poo the idea, just go, all right, great. I like it. I like the idea of that. I think that's nice. It's like anything that people believe in. It's like, why would you believe in it? I don't know. It gives me something to believe in, and I like that. It makes me feel comforted to know that if I go out to the pier and I do a little bit of singing and I hear noise back, that could be a mermaid singing back to me. I think that's nice. I think that's really nice. You know, and we need nice things in life, don't we?
We do. We do. So there you go. There's some mermaid stories for you.
Thank you so much. I am going to look now at your man
Sauce 90.
Saucy Boy 90.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. He's got some good videos. And again, he's like, I don't know, they're kind of like just shitty videos that you'd go, like, how do you even have the time to fake it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all very interesting, but let me know your thoughts. If you do go deep diving, what do you find? Let me know.
Send in some of your stories.
Yes,
to PO Box 375241.
That does not exist.
No, don't do it.
Oh, it might. And maybe that person will get a really nice surprise.
Lucky them.
But thank you so much, Paddy, for joining me.
Thanks so much. I mean, I didn't really contribute much to this episode.
You didn't. You're very quiet tonight. It's kind of nice. But I'll see you soonish, because we're going to be talking about
Fridges.
No.
Fridges? You'll love it.
Not next week, but in a few weeks.
In a few weeks, we are going to be talking about Yule. Now that we're finishing off the episode, I'm going to start talking. So, thanks very much for having me. It was good. I like learning about this stuff that I don't really know much about.
Well, I was just going to say, you don't have a lot of mermaid knowledge, so you didn't really have much to contribute.
I don't.
Week.
No, I don't.
But maybe the next stories will get you on board a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be nice if you can handle me talking more, Amy. I would love to join in. And thanks very much for having me. It was lovely to meet you, and I suppose I'll see you once we start recording.
That sounds good. Thank you so much for all your support as well. And if you want to connect with me, you know where to find me. I am on Instagram. And my page is called
Wick and Sage, WICKANDSAGE.
And you can find me or watch us on Rosethorn Cottage.
Rosethorn with an E.
No, wait, that's at YouTube. I stuffed it up.
What did you say?
I meant to say on YouTube, and then you were going to say Rosethorn Cottage.
What did you say? What did you say?
On Rosethorn Cottage.
Yeah, rosethorncottage.com. .tv.
Oh my god!
No, if you go to YouTube, it's Rosethorn Cottage. ROSETHORNE cottage .com. No, it's the channel. And also
Patreon. If you want to, what is that noise?
Our dog's having a drink.
That crap out of me. I thought there was like some form of spirit behind us.
Audrey's having a dream.
She's having a puppy dream.
She's sleeping.
You can also find me at Patreon.
At patreon.com/Rosethorn Cottage with an E.
Thank you. And that's it. I think I'm done with all the information.
Should I do some ads for you?
You should. If you want Paddy to do an ad, send it in, and also be a sponsor of the show, and he'll make it even more special. Yeah.
I'm very slow to get it to you, but I'm very expensive. So thanks.
That's really sold it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Guys, I hope you're enjoying these podcasts. If you are, let us know. And if you're not, don't.
And
just give it to yourself.
Give it a thumbs up or a like or a 5 stars or a review.
4 stars, but nothing less, because
don't do 4.
It's
easier to do 5. You just swipe it over.
No.
But anyway, we're going to go now. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will see you. Well, I will see you sooner than Paddy, but we'll see you soon. Bye.
Adios.